Modesto partnership. That's our first question, when we start is, who are you? What is your organization? Do we have another, can we still call you Domo or is that like,
Yeah.
anyways, so we're gonna go around and, I'm looking at who's taking a bite of their sandwich and then I'll call on you. We're gonna go around the room and introduce ourselves and then we'll go online. We see Kelly. Thanks, Kelly, for bringing on your video. Go ahead and start with Kat.
Okay, so I'm gonna give similar updates as last time, but I see faces here that weren't here last time. I think it may be beneficial. So for small business services, the city's partnered with Retail Strategies to develop a recruitment strategy aimed at boosting economic growth and enhancing the community's quality of life. So Retail Strategies promotes Modesto's prime locations to prospective tenants, positioning the city as a competitive destination for retail investment. We've also enhanced our business attraction and retention support. Our partnership with Opportunity Stanislaus focus on attracting new businesses by targeting key industry sectors and fostering job creation. And providing tailored support to help small businesses grow. And then we have the small business loan partnership with Valley First Credit Union, which is the city of Modesto approving a $1 million funding agreement for Valley First. It's beneficial to small business owners because it's a fixed term with rates as low as 2.5%, which I wish I would have gotten on my house that I got, but sadly this is not for that. And then we have community outreach and economic vitality. We have the Central Valley Real Estate Summit. I hope everyone goes.
Where's the real estate summit?
It's April 24th, from 4 to 6:30. The chamber's hosting it, and the city of Modesto is acting as a sponsor along with Valley First Credit Union. It's essentially going to be a real estate summit that has key speakers from residential, commercial, industrial, along with an economic update from our partner at Cosmos. We also have the EDD Job Fair, April 9th. So it's not a City Modesto initiative. It is an EDD initiative, but we're sponsoring with like an in-kind donation of Center Plaza. And just really, if you have anybody who would be interested in attending, or even like if anybody there wants to move, but I think they've reached out to like most businesses within the city so far. But yeah, please like let everybody know. We're trying to get many people employed as we can. So and then that's all my updates for today.
The real estate summit's at $20 per person to attend. And registration can be found on our site. And we're a supporting partner of the EDD fair. So we've shared that with our membership a couple of times now as well. And I know 2 or 3 have signed up to be employers. So
Nice. Thank you, Trish.
Arturo Jackson, or Art Jackson. I'm with CalStart Beach Health House, is the area I'm going to go. Yeah, flies out of Sutter. And I just wanted to try to figure out, what's going on here and how I could play a part with it.
Great. Well, thank you.
Is it still morning? Yeah, a few more minutes. Good morning. Dana Ferrer with the Modesto Irrigation District.
Firstly, Boyette Zacharias, immediate past chair of the Modesto Chamber of Commerce.
John Vines with Modesto Gospel Mission. I'm also the vice chair of external affairs for the chamber, which also means I'm chairman of the economic development.
Trish Christensen, president, CEO of the Modesto Chamber of Commerce.
Let me read my script. Jeremiah Williams, Modesto City Council.
The honorable, let the record reflect,
Cecil's boss.
Cecil's twin brother.
That's the shortest speech you've ever given. Jeremiah's brother from a different mother.
Yeah.
Actually, I worked for Jeremiah. I'm the city planning commissioner.
Yeah.
And I also represent the PD Museum.
Heidi Savage, president, CEO, Downtown Modesto Partnership.
I'm Tom Lau, a retired senior citizen looking for a way to get back into things.
Kelly,
Good morning, and I still believe it's morning. Thanks. Kelly Talent, Chamber Board member and General Manager for Vintage Fur Mall.
go ahead, Ezra. Up, you're on mute.
Yeah, it's better when I take that off. Good morning, everybody. It is still morning. We're not at noon yet. My name is Ezra Salas. I'm the campus president for Institute of Technology here in Modesto, and we're basically a career training center for several career paths.
Thank you.
Great partner, Lark.
Brad, are you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm Brad Leslie with Edgerton Investments. I'm working here, so appreciate being here with all you guys.
Thanks, Brad. Christine,
Good morning, Christine Schweiniger with Valley Builders Exchange and board member for the Chamber of Commerce.
and Laketa.
Good morning, all. Lakita Huckabee with the San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission. I was jealous of the lunch conversation and the lunches about the mayo and the other items.
Oh,
Sorry.
you have any mail you can send this way?
I didn't know they could.
Thank you. All right, so we do have other.
Right there.
Okay, there's minutes here. I know, right, no one's had a chance to read them because full disclosure, I finished them about 10 minutes before the meeting. So I
Make
cleaned
them
them up.
here, at least.
Yeah, yeah. So anyways, if you would like to move to approve, Cecil, all right?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, great. Thank you, guys. And again, just a reminder that you can go to the chamber website, montchamber.org, and you can actually watch any of these meetings on video. So Manufacturers Council was here last month, and so it was very good. It's been a couple of years since they've been there. So without further ado, Heidi, you are on.
Yes, you are. Perfect.
Okay.
Did he have power?
Possible, how long do I have?
5 minutes.
45? Okay. I'm gonna consolidate because I've got a longer presentation here.
So honestly, we're scheduled until 1, so you can stretch that and just shorten Q&A. So you have up to an hour.
Okay, well, if I start to see everybody nodding off, then I'll know.
Okay.
And don't look at that clock.
That I should stop.
So I'll keep.
Just
Heidi.
do this and then
Yeah.
I'll wrap it up. Okay, I'm gonna speed this up so I can see.
I'm just gonna say, let me see if I can get to you. Okay. So that
I
part
need to move?
there, you're on. You're on.
Do they need, does the room need to see the screen though?
They are seeing the screen.
Okay. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, Heidi Savage, Downtown Modesto Partnership. That is who I represent. So I'm going to go over that a little bit, who the different downtown organizations are and what we do.
Glasses.
I'm putting this way or this way.
Should be hitting the screen. Let me click on it. Okay. I got you.
There we go. Okay, there are 2 downtown organizations. One is Downtown Modesto Partnership. That's who I represent. We are also called DOMO for short, which is short for Downtown Modesto. It was recently created in 2015. We are a 501c3. Our kind of funding mechanism, our organization itself is a community benefit district. I'll get into what that means a little in the next slide. Our funding source is an assessment on downtown property owners. It's not working. That's not the slide.
Not if I was doing that.
College.
with both.
Okay, there we go, perfect. A community benefit district is, you have to kind of think of it like an HOA. where the members pay into it to provide better service for the neighborhood. So there is an assessment on the properties in downtown Modesto. They decided collectively to create the organization because there are a lot of cleaning services and safety services that it's challenging for municipalities to provide. That's why legislation was passed that allowed the creation of either community benefit districts or property benefit districts. Next slide, please. Okay, we work cooperatively and collaboratively with Downtown Improvement District, which I ran starting 2019. I headed up both organizations last year. Happy to say I'm just doing one right now. So our partner organization is the Modesto Downtown Improvement District. It has been around a long time, since 1965. It is a 501c6, so slightly different than DMP being a 501c3. We're a city commission. Our funding structure is that we are a business improvement district, which means we are funded by a mill tax on the businesses within a boundary of downtown. Next slide, please. Okay. A business improvement district is slightly different than a PBID or a CBID. The city levies the tax on the businesses. They collect the tax. It's very, very small in comparison. The budget is much smaller than Downtown Modesto Partnerships, but the function, the role is very, very similar. Both organizations work to make downtown a better place. We do cleaning and safety, do business promotion programs to help the downtown environment. Slide. As I mentioned, both organizations work together. We are in the same office. We're right at the corner of 10th and J Streets. We have been meeting, our boards have been meeting jointly since 2021, and have adopted a joint mission and vision. So we function as a single board. The joint mission is to create a vibrant community through activities and partnerships designed to improve the quantity of quality experiences in downtown Modesto. Next slide will show you what our combined boundaries are. So the orange line is Downtown Modesto Partnerships boundary, and then the dark green line is the DID boundary. So both of them essentially go to Needham. That's Needham at the top, down as far as 6th Street for DID, a little past 8th Street for DMP. Then both go up G Street and over to 5 Points. Okay, moving on. All right, so now I'm going to get into my focus of my talk today, which is placemaking. Go to the next slide. That's kind of our slogan, is 1 square mile, endless possibility. What is placemaking? It's a collaborative process where people come together to create places in the heart of their community. It really marks a shift in how public spaces are created, developed, changed, managed. The placemaking term really started to catch on in the 90s, but the study of it began in the 60s, 70s by folks, a lot of them who are urbanists. And it's been something that I've loved to see the change in our public spaces because of the changes in placemaking. Like I said, it started being more commonplace in the 90s. Now it's fairly common. Next slide. Thank you. When we talk about placemaking, we're talking about how people in our community connect together and then with the place that they're in. So the era for urban planning where cars and suburban living were the focus has ended. That's all shifted. But even though it's shifted, we now are left with cars that are streets that are filled with parked cars, empty parks, big concrete plazas. So how do we deal with that? Right. Okay, so the science of placemaking. There have been some real standout researchers in this field, one of whom was William H. White, who studied people in the 60s and 70s, who took a lot of film, a lot of photos to see how people engaged with the public spaces around them, how they interacted with others. So how they use the public space and what they needed to enjoy them. Please. Another famous urbanist is Jane Jacobs. They still to this day do things called Jane Walks, where you go out and enjoy urban places across the United States. In 1961, she published a book called The Death and Life of Great American Cities. And it really challenged the kind of the standard operating procedures for urban planning and city planning. It replaced designing for cars and for kind of isolation, really, and replaced it with making cities diverse and lively, filled with people, and really kind of getting rid of that vehicle focus. Slide, please. Jumping back to William White's research, when he took all of the video and film in the 60s and 70s, the number one thing that he learned what people need in the public space is other people and a diversity of people. So one of the tests that they say to determine if a place, when you come to a new place and you want to figure out if it's safe and comfortable, look at how many women are there. If there are more women than men, then that's kind of the litmus test for whether or not that space is safe. They say comfortable, but I don't know, you can always determine that it's comfortable, but at least safe. The next thing people want in a place is food and a diversity of food. That's why food trucks have gained in popularity, farmers markets, food carts, a diversity of food, and then accessibility. Next is water, but water that's meant to be touched. It used to be that they would plan and build a lot of grand fountains and stuff that you just kind of stayed away from and admired. And now the focus has become more little splash pads, little things of water where kids can get out there with sailboats, people can get out there and do the little paddle boats. Just something where you can actually touch and enjoy the water. And last, for a great public space is a place to sit. Sometimes that's a place where you can even pull up your own chair, or you can sit down next to other people nearby, or maybe not as nearby, but places to sit, something that feels comfortable. I think of Moband in the park. You can sit as close to other folks in the community at that event, or you can kind of pull off to your own. That environment feels comfortable. Okay, next slide. All right, so we do a number of things in our downtown to add vibrancy. We provide clean and safe services. We do image enhancement and beautification. So I'm going to go over each of these different areas. The first one is our cleanliness and safety. Next slide, please. So we have a team of 4 that do garbage and litter pickup, graffiti removal, pressure washing, bodily waste removal, landscape services. For safety, they engage with the homeless every day on and all day long. They provide customer assistance to patrons in downtown. They provide nuisance reduction and a security presence. They're always out there surveilling and reporting. They are eyes and ears for downtown. They provide an invaluable service, and we are grateful for them every day. Next slide. So these are our year-end numbers for 2024. You can see the amount of trash we collect. So our team, on average, removes 17,000 pounds of trash every single month downtown. Lots of patron interactions, lots of graffiti spots removed, but you can see, all the different numbers. They provide a valuable service to visitors and residents and workers in downtown, all to help downtown feel safer. One of the things I really love about our downtown supervisor is that he actively says hello to as many people as he can every day. And it shapes the way people feel when they're in a downtown, and somebody that looks kind of official that's in a uniform acknowledges them. So he's, kind of shared that philosophy with our team, and our full team really does that a lot more now. Next slide. So this is going back to William H. White's work, where he discovered that triangulation prompts strangers to talk to each other as though they were not. And what that means is when we're working on programming activities or really events in our downtown, we have to think of layering activities. We can't just do one thing because then the experience doesn't necessarily reach everybody. So you want to connect smaller activities together. So you create an event where the whole is bigger than the sum of its parts. And that's what we do a lot with our 3 signature programs that I'm going to go over in a moment. This is where people can connect each other. That's the real value point for the events that we put together is people can connect. Strangers can talk to one another because they have some common ground just by participating in that event. Next slide, please. So I talked before about our clean and safe services. Next is image enhancement. We want to paint downtown in a positive light, producing fun, community-friendly events. If we paint downtown in a positive light, if someone's not had an experience in downtown, they come down, they have a great time, they're more likely to want to come back downtown again. Next slide. So First Fridays is one of our signature events. It starts
Is that John?
this Friday.
I was gonna say it was Cecil.
So first Friday of each month, we start this Friday. They go through October. We'll be dark 4th of July. But we will be getting together on 10th Street between K and I Streets. You can come find us. Please come on out and enjoy. There are all kinds of great things if you haven't been before. It starts at 5 p.m., runs till 9 p.m. So those that are getting off work at 5 can just walk right out onto 10th Street, get a bite to eat, grab a drink. The vendors that we have there, we actually lowered the price last year to make it more accessible for those who make handmade goods, curate unique products. We know that our attendees really respond to that. They really like those kind of products and seek them out. We have beer for sale. We have micro brews every month. This month, we're doing micheladas. I've never had one, but I heard they're delicious. So we do salsa dancing. There's break dancing almost every single month. I'm not sure if we're going to have it this Friday, but he'll probably be out there with some of the break dancers. We do a huge break dance battle with our first Friday finale. It's like known all the way to San Jose. It's epic. It's great. That's in conjunction with Domo Walls too. Our October 1st Friday includes that. Bio Robotics will be here. We'll have the Drum Love Circle. So we do something different every month to show the variety of things that are going on in the community. Slide, please. Here you can see the Bio robot there in the lower right-hand corner. You can just kind of get a feel for what it looks like out at First Fridays if you haven't been. Lots of people, lots of vendors. Next slide. We do show, like I said, a variety of cultural things. These are some of the students at Ballet Folklore Co. I think their costumes are just extremely vibrant and fun. And the last slide about First Fridays shows off some of the break dancing. You can just get involved. You know, there's some formal program where the different dance crews dance, but then there are other times where kids can get up and dance. And it's so fun to watch. Oh, it's so great. Okay, our next signature event is Domo Shop. It used to be called Mod Shop. We took it over last 2023 after the group that had been running that event for about 8 years. They were ready to just move on to different things in their life. And so they asked us to take it on. What we were able to do is grow that event because it used to be just for vendors, but we were able to galvanize the small brick and mortar businesses downtown, restaurants and retailers to participate, created a bigger footprint. The next slide, I can talk through some of the things that we do there. So we had over 40 vendors at Mod Shop, and it takes place this Saturday after Thanksgiving, which is Small Business Saturday, a national day dedicated toward raising awareness and driving sales to brick and mortar small businesses. We had a number of different activations. All of it's family friendly. We had free photos with Santa. If families go to the mall, I think it's like $80. And so we offered that. We had a flash mob for the first time, which was really cool. There's a photo of that in a minute. We worked with the museums so they could be open and people could see what different museums we have in downtown, because we now have 4. And then we have 19 brick and mortar business partners. We got the next. This is just one of our vendors. All of the vendors at Domo Shop make their own stuff. They can't buy it from, some manufacturer somewhere. They make their own stuff. This young man is a vendor. He makes his wood stuff.
I bought one from him 2 years ago.
I know those kids.
Yeah.
I just realized I know them.
Next slide just shows the 3 photos with Santa. And the next, that was our flash mob. That was really fun. Okay, we'll move on to our last signature event, which is Domo Walls. Since its inception, we are now entering our 10th year. We have added 28 world stage murals to downtown. I'm showing just a few of the different ones here. Yeah,
Did you see?
that's one of the newest ones.
Where do you get those, how you source those murals?
We do it?
Yes.
Well, we started in January and the event will be in October. We start by identifying properties that we think we sections of downtown that we want to really activate. Last year, we focused on corridors from Crusader Park over to the farmers market. This year, we're focusing on corridors from Highway 99 into downtown because the new courthouse is going to be bringing people in that direction regularly. Folks from Turlock and Ceres, because the courthouses there will be closed. And that area hasn't been, it doesn't have any murals in it yet. So we're going to be focusing on that. So once we identify the property, sorry?
The question is, how do you find people to design these?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just starting with the baseline step. And then the next step we have is we have a curator that we work with. He's a mural artist himself. He's local here in Modesto. You'll see his murals. They're downtown. His name is Aaron Vickery. His artist name is Spasm. And he'll go and make sure that the walls are suitable. And once that happens, in looking at the wall, he has a number of artists in mind that he think would be good for that particular wall. Then he reaches out to see if they're available, because often they'll be in different parts of the world painting. Maybe they'll be available when we're having our Domo walls, maybe not. So select an artist. We also have to do all of the fundraising to do all of these murals. Travel costs alone for an artist, supplies and travel can be $5,000. So we're always looking for people that might be interested in sponsoring these murals, because we think they just add so much beauty and vibrancy into downtown. Does that?
That's the question I asked.
Great.
Okay.
Hey, sorry. Okay, now when it comes to marketing downtown, because that's one of our major roles, we first did research when DMP was created, Downtown Modesto Partnership. We did research at the mall. We did online surveys to find out what people like about downtown, what brings them downtown. The number one thing, food. The second thing was culture, so performing arts centers, movies, that sort of thing. And then third was community, meaning special events or community festivals. So these have become our 3 pillars for downtown: culture, cuisine, and community. Those are the things that we're trying to promote to the community, all of the great things that are going on in downtown. As I mentioned, this is going to be a little bit of repeat of what I've already told you, but just to reinforce, we do First Fridays, Domo Walls, Domo Shop, and then we're also going to be adding Domo Hunt, which is a scavenger hunt. This is something that we released a few years ago, but the timing wasn't ideal because it was still COVID. So we are going to relaunch that this year. It's just something that people can pull up. Kind of like people do Pokemon Go. It's just something folks like to do in a group. It's a puzzle-based thing, so they have to answer all different questions to get to the next step of the process. Just another fun activity. Slide. Another one of our programs is storefront improvement. So we work with the businesses downtown to make sure that their physical space is the best 24/7 representation of who they are and what they do. We added window graphics to Mocha Magic. She said that her sales went up by 17% after we did that, because if you look at the photo on the left, people had been going by her facility for, I don't know how long, but quite a while, going to the farmer's market. And once the graphics were there, oh, I didn't know you were here. I've been coming to farmer's market for years. And so we want to make sure that we can,
I didn't do it.
help our businesses to have the best physical space. Slide. Great. Okay, one of the things that we do are the downtown street pole banners. And so that's also something, if anyone has a group that they're with, we have the Garden Club, for instance. The Garden Club celebrated their centennial year this past year, so they wanted to promote that. So they've added some banners downtown. We've had graffiti parade banners in the past. So these are just another way that we can show the community what's going on. And they add color and vibrancy into downtown. Jump to the next. The Downtown Flower Pots. This is a partnership between the Downtown Improvement District, Modesto Garden Club, and City of Modesto. DID provides the pots. We often also provide funding to the garden club. They do fundraising as well to raise the money to purchase the flowers. Then they plant them twice a year. There's like a summer planting and a winter planting. And then our dedicated and amazing city staff fill up a water truck and then drive out to each of these flower pots and waters them, because we don't have any irrigation in downtown. So they're just nice little beautiful vignettes of color, and you might notice them more now when you walk downtown if you hadn't noticed them before. Slide. Okay, we also work with the Garden Club on other beautification projects. This is what's called K Street Parklet. It's like a pie-shaped lot at the corner of Needham and K Street. So DID and then the property owner also pitched in some money to re-landscape 3 little triangle areas there. Well, they're not little, they're triangle areas. And in the next slide, you'll be able to see it when it's a little bit more grown up. Now when you see it in the spring, it is so beautiful when all of those daffodils bloom and those ornamental grasses have really filled in. And as you can tell, the photo from the left to the right, it's made a huge difference. We also provided additional funding for the flower clock. There were irrigation issues there this winter, but the cities hopefully got that, in hand. And they're currently trying to replant the flower clock for its spring planting. Downtown placemaking, opportunities and challenges. Do I have till 12:30?
You have to 12:45.
Okay. So when it comes to placemaking, it's never a perfect environment. There are opportunities and challenges. So I'll go through some of those here. The good news is that big steps have already been taken to make downtown more walkable. As I mentioned before, the shift in placemaking that started in the 60s that focused on the cars before then now focuses on people and making downtowns a place where people want to walk in, sit in, be in. So City of Modesto has already made this part of the downtown master plan. Slide. I think this was 2021. This was done in 2021. I might have it in my notes. So this was a big shift in downtown.
2020, yeah, September 2020. I understand.
I do. Okay, good. Thank you. So the city changed J Street in a really important way. It had been 3 lanes of traffic, stoplights all the way down. So what they did was they removed the stoplights starting at 14th Street, replaced them with stop signs, changed it from 3 lanes to 2 lanes. And in doing that, they slowed the traffic enough to get rid of all the parallel parking. Before that, the speed of the vehicles was too fast. People would have never been able to park angled because they can't back out for risk of there being some kind of a, potential collision. So we added, I think it was 23 parking spaces in that restriping of J Street, moved the bus stops off of J Street. They're now on, streets on I Street, probably K as well. So that just changed the feel of downtown. By doing that and slowing the traffic, we were able to add more things like parklets because traffic was slowed down enough that people would feel safe sitting at a parklet and dining. Next slide, please. So another positive that I just mentioned are the parklets. These are a great way for people to be able to see what's happening in downtown. You don't have to look inside the windows of a restaurant to see if anybody's there. You're driving down the street, you can see them there. They don't get as much use in the winter, obviously, because it's a little bit cold, but now you start seeing more people in the spring and summer. The use of these picks up quite a bit. These have just been a nice thing. It was an essential thing during COVID. We were so glad that we could have them. And now the city opted to make them permanent after COVID, which is great. There's another parklet. Okay. I'm going to talk about asphalt art. I wanted to show you this photo because it's a part of what we are doing in a beautification plan that Downtown Modesto Partnership is working on. Asphalt art isn't something that we have in our community yet, but we're going to be starting to add some of that into downtown. It just changes the way people see the space around them. That's what our murals have done as well. Slide. Okay.
Jeremiah, you gotta look at the screen.
Okay. Only because he and I were talking about this yesterday. So one of the challenges that we have in our downtown is that one block was kind of built at a time. And so if you look down J Street, the sidewalks might be this big on one block and they might be this wide on another, and then they might be different size the next block over. So that's one of our challenges is consistent size sidewalk and sufficient sidewalk space, because we've made downtown more walkable. You have more patrons downtown. You want to have a wider space for them to walk in. The pedestrian need for physical space is 16 feet. It's really 12 feet of sidewalk space and then 4 feet for tree wells. This space right here is on J Street, and it's probably one of the widest sections along. It's also along 10th Street Place, where City Hall and county offices are. This is 10 feet. So even this, one of our widest sidewalks, still isn't kind of the new standard of how wide sidewalks can be for people to really enjoy a space. Look at the next slide. So this is a narrower sidewalk. This one is about 4 feet wide, and so we can't put flower pots there. We're limited on what we can do for placemaking because you have to leave enough ADA clearance. We can jump to the next.
Real quick, Heidi.
Yeah.
Going back to asphalt art, how long does that last? Because I know the chamber Limo class did the crosswalks that were the piano keys, and that looked great for, I don't know how long, but very quickly seemed to deteriorate with use. And so like with asphalt art and cars and like, is that something that you have to redo it every year or every 2 years?
So there's a product and an application that basically melts the paint onto the asphalt. That's the best, neoplastic, I believe is what it's called. The thermoplastic, excuse me. However, it's very expensive. So the asphalt art that we're going to be doing is under sections that aren't driven over on like J Street and other areas. We're adding bike parking there. So it's just a way to, add some color and vibrancy. I don't think there are any plans to do asphalt art because it does wear so easily. Where it works really well is a project like this. I don't know if I'm thinking of the right city, but they've done a project like this in Reno where they put a cap over what used to be, they put a cap over what still is railroad. And so no cars drive over that or anything, but they've done beautiful asphalt art. And so anybody looking from hotels down or people looking at the street level can see the beautiful art on that. And so something like that, or you can use it on a sidewalk. It's a little bit, it'll last a lot longer.
Yeah.
And so it's easier to maintain.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why, it's hard to maintain on the street. So.
Yeah.
Okay, poor lighting is another challenge that we have for our downtown. There are different lamppost standards on different blocks. Again, because our city just kept evolving, getting built little by little. A lot of the lampposts that we have in downtown are the highway standard, the big giant cobras, where we want to see pedestrian level lighting. Even the lighting that's over by 10th Street Place, those are more pedestrian height, but they don't have the light facing down on the sidewalk to illuminate the pedestrian experience. And so we would love to eventually see where there is a consistent standard of lighting all the way down J Street, our main street, and then eventually the side streets, so that pedestrians have that feeling of safety. We actually have a very safe downtown, but feeling safe is affected by how much lighting patrons or visitors downtown see. Another thing that we hear is, how come we can't have market lights, the white lights that string all the way down J Street? For the same reason that I mentioned already, we have the big highway standard lights, and then some of the even lower lights, they don't have any place where you can plug the market lights into. They're older lights, it's just not really possible. We have other sections like right there in front of Rancho Fresco that there's no light there. There's only a light on the corner there. So there's missing lights on certain blocks as well. I can we can skip this slide. So just one other placemaking aspect where we have the different lampposts. DMP invested in these holiday garlands. They're all pre-lit. They only light up on certain lampposts if there's a place to plug them in. So that means we still are going to have the garlands, but as somebody's driving down at night, maybe only one side of the street will be lit, or something like that. But we're still going to bring out those holiday decorations because we like the beauty that they do add during the day when you can see it. Another placemaking challenge is we could certainly use more greenery in downtown. Trees with nice big canopies that help provide a more pleasant experience for people who are walking on the sidewalk. Also reducing the heat effect. That's something that I know a lot of folks would like to see. We had a plan for it, but state budget cuts. So anyway, this is something that we will continue to work towards, is having more greenery in downtown. Okay, next slide. So retail in the built environment. So the built environment are the buildings, the physical space that we have. And we've learned a lot in working with an urban strategist, working with our downtown brick and mortar businesses. We hear from folks, we can go to the next slide, please, that there's not enough retail in downtown or not the right kind of retail. We believe that retail follows rooftops. That's kind of a common practice or thought with people who do downtown revitalization, downtown management, because if you have the neighbors there, then they're going to be supporting the services and the businesses around them. So we're really excited about the 7th Street Village. It's our first housing project in downtown in 50 years, which is fantastic. The more residential projects that happen in downtown are going to create that 24/7 neighborhood feel that we'll need. But even with that, the question is our built environment ready for that? Next slide, please. Okay, startups are always looking for a smaller space. They don't have a ton of capital yet. They need to build that up. So they're looking for a sweet spot of 500 to 1,000 square feet. When you look at our downtown, there's not a lot of that. Most of our buildings were constructed at a time when warehousing was done on site. Most everything was wasn't trucked in, it came in by rail. And so the spaces are really, really deep, particularly on 10th Street between J and I. And because those spaces are so deep, they mainly work for venues, nightclubs, that kind of business model. They don't work for retail. They're simply too much square feet. We can skip that slide. I'll sum up the retail part real quick, is that we could have more retail in downtown, but it would take a property owner who really wants to take on the steps of demising a space and then turning it into like smaller retail spaces. But usually I'm told that you have to have a city help you. So if somebody wanted to work on that, it would have to be probably a multi-entity partnership to do that kind of a transformation. All right, public art. I already talked about our mural program, but it would be really fun when we're looking at what could happen in downtown to have something really big, really unique that puts downtown on the map. We know that public art can drive tourism. look how big the Bean is in Chicago. Do we have space for something this big in our little downtown? Yeah, so that's a bit of a challenge. We'd have to think a little bit smaller. We can go to the next slide. They did something probably a really good scale for San Francisco Union Square. How many people want to go there and take a selfie with this, right? It's become iconic. Wouldn't it be great if we had something iconic here in Modesto? Slide. So I mentioned that we need space. We need room to make any kind of really meaningful activation, public art wise. So I don't see any big concrete courtyards in Modesto where we could do something like this related to, we wouldn't have to do music, but just to give you an idea. And the next slide is a project that they did on HGTV, where they go and do downtown revitalization to communities that have been harmed by things like tornadoes or floods or what have you. And they decided, you know, they took what was unique to that area. And that's always really important. We can't take what they did in Chicago. We can't put a Bean here, right? Every community has to do what's unique to their community. And for this city, Glenn Miller was born there, the band leader. So they created this selfie moment in a park. I would love to see something that's signature to Modesto, where we could add that here in our downtown.
More arches.
What's that?
A whole lot of arches.
Okay, next slide. We also don't really have any illuminated art, which would be a different way for us to think about our public art. Up to the next. But again, you have to think about, well, where's a space where we could put this? And so that becomes the next challenge is if we get funding to do a project like this, where are we going to put it? We can go to the next one. One way to do that is to go up. Downtown Sacramento Partnership worked to provide connectivity between downtown Sac and Old Sac. So they put up that old Sacramento neon sign kind of right at the beginning of COVID or just before COVID. So it cost like $20,000. Can you imagine doing something like that? $20,000 anymore. Their timing was amazing, but that has been a huge win for them. It's been really great. Okay, next slide. All right, I had mentioned that we're really excited about the 7th Street Village that will be coming in. It'll be 79 housing units. There will be commercial on the ground floor, mixed use. There'll be a community center. Well, we can jump to the next. A Head Start program. There might be like a little store in there. This building is meant to be more environmentally friendly. I'm told that the nonprofit that's going to do this project has started buying properties in that area. So we could see, hopefully, if this goes well, more projects like this to get more housing in downtown. Okay, now courthouse. So the courthouse, 8 stories, I believe, will be opening supposedly either end of this year, beginning of next year. That will be bringing a lot of people into downtown. So it's to be seen yet how that's going to impact our downtown, but hopefully it will be good because all of those people that come to work, come to jury duty, etc., often need to eat lunch, particularly if they're there all day. And so hopefully that will support our downtown brick and mortar restaurants.
Quick question on that, Heidi. I remember years ago, Cecil single-handedly got that built, by the way. He was on that committee, but no, but there was at some point some real movement towards having a vision, not just for that, but for all of the spaces around that across the street. The idea would be restaurants and things like that. Is there any talk about that? Any talk about the property owners, across the street, for example? I mean, is there any movement about, because right now it's over by the police station, it's just not as, say, friendly as, around the Gallo Center. And so is there any-
I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
Most of the conversation about that area has been about whether we would have a new ballpark there.
Yeah.
And then I know there was a meeting at City Council 2 weeks ago, but I was, I think, out of town for a conference where they talked about it might be a soccer field.
Yeah,
It's not up on Modesto.gov.
That site, the South Downtown site, it's now excluded. So we're only looking at Center Plaza and Uni.
So that could mean opening conversation back up to what you're talking about, but that must have happened before my.
But John, as far as Greg's place, which is the Grub Hub, he's has some plans. And then, of course, JS West, they have some plans. And then on the south side of what Ninth and D, close to where it would have been or could have been, which we ex-nighted that. And now they're coming back to give us a study on Muni and then downtown north. So yeah, there are talks about trying to develop the entire area.
Yeah.
For sure. It's just like anything, it's time and money.
Yeah, yeah. I remember some discussion about right across the street on 10th, right there. So,
There's there's the courthouse development area. That's the one that's in 12. But I mean, it is more south, it's more west, so with that redevelopment, I'm sure will come, it'll just the trick.
We need much more dental parking is somewhere there too.
Amen.
When you say downtown north, that's the Center Plaza site,
The Center Plaza site, yeah.
the site that demolishes the MID building.
No.
Okay, because that's that's the map that's on line.
So the MID, I'm not in favor of the downtown.
Oh, I can tell you, neither is MID.
But the point of it is, that's if the demolishing of the plaza, but not so much, we can't touch the MID building, and nor do we want to, if that were the case. And that's what the further study
The map
is all
needs to
about.
be redone.
But that's where the further study is all about, you put us council members in the situation or in a setting with the community, and we don't even have all the data supporting either one of the spots, the three, now the two, and then ask us which way we want to go. It makes it very difficult. And so for the most part, again, around the courthouse, because the courthouse is the state building, they're not required to have parking. Only for those, the judges. It's really strange.
Yeah, that's
But-
crazy.
But when you think about it, you go to the Capitol, there's no identified
Yeah,
parking
it's
for
hard
the
to-
Capitol.
yeah.
So, I mean, you think about these things and you go, wow, are you really concerned about our cities?
Especially considering how many mandates the state puts on businesses.
Absolutely, absolutely, particularly on parking.
And that's,
Yeah.
and that's not what they're current.
I can say, we will work with Heidi very closely, and I'll bring it back to her court on parking for sure, but.
They're paying like $300 in that building and not any parking on it.
And I keep hearing
The
things.
sad part
I
of
just,
this is, and John, you're right. So the very first thing I got involved when I became president of the chamber was this. Now, how many years ago that was? 14 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And it isn't open yet. Pretty soon it's gonna be open. And that's the biggest problem. The other things we're talking about, some of us they live long enough to see them. Like what's gonna happen with the old
Courthouse
courthouse?
building, yeah. That was my
And
next
then
question.
there's too many.
Oh, and we've had workshops on that with the council.
Yeah.
But, we're here for Heidi today.
I was just going to say,
Bring it back to her.
okay, yes, there have been public meetings that have started to solicit community input on what could happen with the former courthouse site. So that process has already started on what that might look like.
And, I know that, and I think your earlier conversation about it, a place where people go, greenery, I mean, that's kind of already there, and it would be a shame.
And that greenery has to stay from what I understand.
Yeah.
That's good. That must stay. And we just want it to be a place where people are comfortable going and hanging out. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of go through the rest of my presentation really quickly. One of the big change for downtown is the ACE train will be coming. Federal grant for 122 million to expand rail in Central Valley means that we will eventually be able to get on a train here in downtown and go to San Jose or go to Sacramento and not even have to get in a car. That'll be so incredible. So one of the big change coming
This
for
is
downtown.
gonna be the biggest game changer. When this opens, and it starts bringing, it's not only gonna take people from here to the Bay Area, Sacramento, San Jose, it's gonna bring people here.
That's the hope.
And you talk about one of the biggest things that can impact downtown, it's this.
Okay.
Just more parking.
Next slide. Yeah, exactly. Next slide. So another thing that's happening downtown is the city applied for a grant and got 3.1 million for downtown revitalization. Most of the efforts will be focused on Mural Alley. This is just a mock-up. It's not going to be another arch. We already have an arch on I Street. But it will be something that shows you're in Mural Alley, you know, that you entered a special place. They're going to repave Mural Alley, add trash enclosures for the end there behind the parking garage where all the businesses that have to have, you know, place to put their refuse. That'll all be enclosed. And there's going to be more trash cans on J Street. We're going to get rid of the old concrete ones that are all broken and stuff that our guys have to literally, because there's no insert, reach in with their hands and pull out and every single piece of trash. Yeah. So we're really excited about getting the new units. The new trash units will have a little foot pedal. So you don't have to touch it. A little thing will come out. You put your trash in. Nobody can reach in and pull food out and make a mess. And then rain is also, it really impacts our team negatively because the trash cans get so heavy. The plastic bags get so heavy when they're filled with rainwater. So it'll be better for them to be able to do their jobs more efficiently without having to carry out heavy water laden trash bags.
When's that happening?
I think, Kat knows those if the big bellies have gotten ordered?
I think so. That's Eric's project,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure.
When I talked to him last week, he thought maybe they
Yeah,
get ordered this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Soon.
Next slide. So DMP has received $700,000 in federal COVID funds to do downtown beautification. It will include a big lighting installation at the corner of 10th and J Streets, and also extending that look. Those have like these really cool market lights in them. We will do market lights all the way down 10th Street because now we have a way to power them. Where I mentioned the light poles. Now this new installation will be able to power those. So these will be probably the largest single elements of our $700,000 downtown beautification plan, but it will also include some other things. I can show you that on the next slide. One of which, this is just a mock-up, but we just talked about the ACE train, right? So when people get off the ACE train, we'd like for them to see something that identifies entry into a special place. We want a gateway sign for downtown. So this is, like I said, just a mock-up, maybe something that says downtown. It could have any shape or look, whatever's going to work there. If we can get lighting to it, electrical, we would want to have lighting for it. Then we're going to be adding, like I said, the asphalt art with bike parking. Some of our community members don't even know that we have bike parking downtown because the city has it on black asphalt and they're black bollards, so people may not see them. So we're just trying to make it more colorful so that people will realize, oh, hey, there's some parking here. I'm gonna just skip this slide and jump down to, yeah, this one. So here's just some of the things that are happening in downtown. We promote those things. We have social media channels. We're always going out and looking for events, activities, specials, whatever that our downtown businesses are doing. And next slide, we promote them on our social channels. And I've got those identified here if you want to follow us on social media to find out what's happening. Our public facing website is downtown-modesto.com. We do have an events calendar that you can look at, but social media is also really a great way to stay informed daily on what's happening.
Can you go back to the previous slide? Last week, slide board, I have to be on the slide board, we had a lady at the village exam. And her presentation, she said that they've had 87,000 visits since they opened. That's incredible. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
You don't get 20,000 visitors at either the mansion or the museum. If they've had 87,000, I mean, I was knocked off my chair when that came up. And the other one that I don't know is how well is the Barbie Museum doing?
It's still pretty small.
It's very.
I know,
It's
but
just
I mean, again, I don't think
It has people coming to it.
this will get enough promotion. It's incredible what that lady has done.
have noticed.
Yeah.
And so I'm only saying these things because I think this stuff needs to be promoted more. I'm not quite sure how to do that, but it needs to be promoted more.
That's why we opened up the museums as part of our demo shop, because the museum was new and it was really close to where a lot of the demo shop activity
If you'd
was.
like to see something from the Gallows Center, the Arts, the Children's Museum, the Army Museum, and live music and that, all kind of together with some big promotion, but something monthly that talks to people, not just here in Modesto, but out of the area, that brings people to the downtown.
I know that they're in discussion right now, all trying to figure out what they might be able to do. I remember visit Modesto and or Stanislaus Arts Council and Museum, but I know that Lourdes is talking with others about how to improve the marketing there. And I'm getting kind of time here, so I'll just go through to I'll leave it on the last. There you go, right there. If you go to our downtown-Modesto website, scroll to the bottom of the main page, you can subscribe to our newsletter. That's one other way to stay informed of what's going on. I think anything else is I think that's probably good enough. Remember, First Fridays is coming this Friday. Would love to have you guys come in. And any questions I can answer, I know my time is up.
You've got 10 minutes for today.
Okay.
You mentioned federal funding in connection with various projects, and there's now a new, I think, Department of Governmental Efficiency. How looking into funding cuts, spending cuts, how secure is your federal funding for the base?
The federal funding has already been received.
Okay, it's the money's in the bank.
Yeah, the federal funding was received. Well, I'm sure have grants funds have those all. Yeah, so all the funding is in the bank.
Also, Heidi, the Children's Museum and the Friends of the Library are the 2025 4th of July Grand Marshal.
Oh, nice.
And the theme for this year is celebrating America's youth. So they'll be getting their day on the pavement on July 4th. And then also with July 4th, let's talk about you and I, First Friday AM. If they want to do it. So you don't have to shake your head now, but if they want to, because that plaza is open when we have our parade. And we used to do we used to have a festival in that section before, and we just kind of moved just the food vendors over in front of the Gallo Center where it's closed off. But that whole section is open and white. So if you choose to, and because of the fact that a lot of those vendors, that's how they make their money. That's how they exist. And if they want to be there, there's only 30,000 people downtown. And so if you want to think about that, that's.
I will think about
You
it.
can make that happen. The streets are already closed off. We already have the insurance for it. So it's just a matter if they want to be housed in that space at that particular time. The parade starts at 9:30. It's usually about 11:45, 12 o'clock. And so, and then we did have the festival right there. It went to 3 o'clock. And so people still were able to get home and enjoy their 4th of July. The that's 4th of July is on the 3rd. So the fireworks will be on the 3rd. It won't be on.
Any other questions?
There's one question online. I'm gonna take your thing now so we can see behind. Kelly's question is, what is the timing of the light installation? I believe she's talking about your.
Everything has to be completed by end of 2026. Not early.
I have a kind of comment, not a question, on that mural. When you look at a mural, I know there didn't used to be, and there is in the future, a way to look at the art and say, what was their vision and why, and how they've gone through this, and how it came to be.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're going to be adding to the mural program this year is we're going to add a mural tour. So we'll have signage on the different mural walls that will have a QR code so that people, if they just happen upon the mural, they can find out information about the piece of art itself, the artist, and then see where all of our other murals are, so they'll understand that it's part of a bigger mural program. So we're
I
going
love
to
that. That's what I'm talking about for years. And my other idea was to have like a time lapse camera
we
while
can't.
they're painting them and go.
Yeah.
That goes into it and.
Yeah, we actually asked our curator if he could do that, but he depends on somebody else to do that. I don't know if they were around last year, so we would love to see
I
it.
would love
Hopefully he can arrange that this year, because that would be really pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You know, for your sake and information, also for the 4th of July, we have a category called Hometown Hero. And 2 years ago was not LeBron James. It was Deron.
Oh, are you thinking about it?
Deron, you can see where I can get that. Deron Bland, who plays for the Cowboys. And then last year was Jeff Reed. You all know Jeff Reed is very, very successful businessman. So this year is going to be the 150-year birthday Modesto Fire Department.
Oh,
Nice.
So if you can't get any more hometown hero than 150-year-old fire department. So
Yeah.
so you can share that. The information is on the website. Website is www.modestojulyparade.com. www.modestojulyparade.com, where you can get all your information.
We get enough people to go. Next year we get LeBron James.
Yeah, we may need to raise our light poles and whatnot.
So there's a couple of things that the graffiti museum's working on. Number one, a few years ago, we got involved because Murphy's kind of pulled back from the, I'm gonna call it the Walk of Fame and that. So we're trying to make that more of a festival this year. And in the third year that we've and run that event. We're in the process of taking up about 14 of the plaques and redoing them because they're really bad shape and that. And then, of course, you're gonna add the new ones. But the other thought that's more, I think more about downtown is we're looking at buying a tram and having, like on Saturdays, people would come and board the tram, we'd come downtown and we'd take them on the old cruise route where the markers are. And by the way, we're redoing those markers and that. So we take them downtown and talk about the historical things, buildings that were there and some that are still there and that, and do that loop. But at the same time, we would talk about the more modern things, like Gallo Center for the Arts and Barbie Museum, the Children's Museum, all the things that are part and parcel of downtown. And that would be an ongoing effort year round that we would do like every week. And so you bring on visitors and that. The question is, do you just do that loop or do you drop them off and then come back? We did Disneyland just loop or did I drop off and then like that time, when they come around. Anyway, the thing about doing that, we cast grants all the time. I mean, every dollar we raise, we put back into the building, and we started to do the book actually today. And that, so we got about $1 million worth of work that we're doing, and then, but we keep running out of funds and then begging for dollars and that. But this other idea has come up, which I think would be really good, not, because we're not just about us, we're about Modesto, we're about the culture here and that. So I would just like to see more collaboration between we're joining in with the Children's Museum and some other museums in Northern California, a museum society that's going to start trying to help each other, with these things. And so when we do something, we're not just doing something for ourselves, we're doing something as a group for the community. So those are some of the ideas that we have to help out.
I get a couple questions. Is the food tour still going on?
No, that's We're not doing that anymore. There's a private enterprise that's probably gonna come up and replace it.
Oh, okay.
I just don't know that they're ready for me to
So, yeah. And then I was walking right by Rob yesterday morning and noticed there's those glass squares on the sidewalk, and someone once told me there's an underground tour. That sound familiar to anyone?
There's an underground.
There's underground.
Can we make one?
I don't like,
Halloween.
whether you want that.
And it's, I mean, I saw mine think there's a ghost tour in town.
Halloween.
You just go out here and go downstairs.
Wow.
It's
I
kind of.
heard there was some kind of tour like that, but nobody could find me.
No, we've heard about a ghost tour. We can't find anything.
Yeah, it like popped up with things to do, and then the link took you nowhere.
I think it's an urban myth.
So there is some catacombs under parts of downtown. It's how they used to connect, but there's ugly things living there. And it's there, we don't think they're all connected anymore. Like Mike Brady, when it's been down in some of these things, he goes, that's not all connected. So it was news to him when I said it to him. So it's a different system. Okay. Maybe bootlegging used to go down there or something.
Yes, that it has to be done.
You know, you still have to be seen that.
police
You need with that underground tunnel
Yeah.
facility.
Yes.
If you come up missing, we'll look.
Which catechism am I in?
So we have just a few minutes left. Kelly was responding to you, Heidi. Thank you for the presentation, seeing the improvements downtown and funding for future projects. And before we wrap, I need to promote on April 17th is our 28th annual Ag Award Luncheon. And for the first time, we're doing a panel rather than a keynote speaker. Our panel will be Jim Netness, the general manager from MID, with Eric Thornburn, the district engineer for Oakdale Irrigation District, and the general manager, Brad Cohen from TID. So we're doing 3 major water entities on a panel. And someone with Farm Bureau, their board, I believe, is going to be facilitating that piece of it. So sponsorships are still going for another week and a half or so, and ticket sales will go up until the 16th. So get your spots. And on May 3rd, on May 3rd, we are having our second Member Market Day. We want to see this grow into a strong annual event. The vendors will be chamber members. We have support and promotion with Ceres Chamber and Oakdale Chamber, although they both have their own events going on and promoting us. Open to the community to come shop it, and we are doing it on the plaza at Center Plaza. So open from 9 to 3.
On the plaza.
On the plaza side.
Before it's demolished to make room.
I was gonna say something, I wouldn't think that like that. But it's, we got some trees and it's brick, it's pretty, you walk right to downtown, so I think that's much better than for our second round. That's all I got.
Yeah, so the EDC, the next meeting in May 7th is Todd Aronson from Visit Modesto. His topic is economic impact of tourism. So a little bit of what we talked here will probably carry over. And then we have something exciting to kind of, I think we hinted last time, but it's taking shape. So we're gonna have a summer series. The chamber, this is the first time we've done this, and it's gonna be joint EDC GRC meetings. They'll be 2 hours long, off-site, and our topics are gonna be water, wealth, contentment, health. So June will be water, July, wealth, contentment, which will be focused on education, will be in August, and then health. And so we're having some pretty good speakers. So we've got the Peterson Center for Wealth. So that's my topic. And then we have DMC, McHenry potentially.
So we have that, the conference center on McHenry for DMC will be where the health one is happening, and we have all 3 of the hospital CEOs committed.
Water River State Theater.
We have State Theater, and we have someone from the Water Board that's gonna come speak.
The state water board.
State Water Board that's gonna come speak.
You're not having anyone local. And the only reason I say this, the State Water Board is,
Different.
quite frankly, the board members have no power. It's staff runs everything. So it's,
I don't bounce the opportunity to invite Dee Dee to speak at GRC and was given kind of be nice to hear another perspective. So he moved forward on it and she accepted it.
And part of it with that, I believe, is also because we got the three
Yeah.
districts speaking it.
Who do you suggest there? I mean, it sounds like you're somebody else in mind.
I just think if, you have the state water board talking about state things and sure, they can make it sound pretty, but realistically, they are,
Their
They-
democracy.
they make it very difficult to operate in California. And you have the state legislature wanting to continue to give them more authority, and they are a very difficult organization to deal with.
I will say that we had one brief discussion with her, Mike Meridian, Michael and I met with her virtually. She lives in Turlock, so she's local.
Oh, yeah,
And
no, you did very well.
we encourage that we keep it informative, not. We encourage that. Value to your.
You guys all know me very well. I speak very frankly. It's gonna be fluff.
We'll carry that on. We haven't had our second conversation together or with her, so we will relay that.
Good to know.
And who did we miss? Education is going to be Stan State's president, Rios Ellis, and then Brian Sanders, MJC president. And we're working on superintendent of school, Scott Pickendall. So all in all, we feel really good about our collection of presenters, and we feel we're 95% for all of them and do great confirmation. And it's a series, it's a full meal, with the exception of State Theater. That'll be an afternoon snack kind of thing. And we'll have a VIP hour available at intermission for those that want to come over and mingle and push their own cocktail. They'll be invited to do that, but we have a private hour for that. And we will be launching registrations and sponsorship opportunities for this in the next 2 to 3 weeks to either sponsor at some level the whole series or 3 of them, or 2 of them, just by 2. So I'm building that out right now.
So water well, 10 minutes.
And some of you who may know, Steve Collins, his celebration of life service is at MJC. Steve Collins, his celebration of life service is at MJC, May the 7th at noon. May the 7th at noon at the auditorium. Steve Collins, past president of MJC, twice, professor in the early 50s. Good man.
With that,
Got a corny.
we are at time. For those of you online, thank you very much. We're going to be closing out. I have a big grants meeting I have to jump on in the other room right now. Thank you all for your time. Thanks again.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.